Welcome, everyone, to our masterclass called How to Identify Hidden Inflammation and Lose Up to 3 pounds. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being on. I know that I respect my time and I also respect your time because it's going to probably be close to about an hour, this whole masterclass. You will be able to get a recording. I will be uploading this on YouTube and also sending you an email on it. But I'm really super duper excited about explaining how inflammation could be the key issue to losing weight and being healthy. So let's get started. So tonight we're going to be covering Inflammation 101. I'm going to be asking you to do a private quiz. So it's a great idea to get a notebook and a pen ready. You won't be sharing the outcome. This is just purely for yourself for personal reasons. I'll also be discussing metabolic roadblocks that we all come across, stress and sleep, how that affects us, foods to ditch, foods to embrace, and identifying your triggers, and also a takeaway guide and resources. So throughout this whole masterclass, I'll be pointing you into different directions to get more resources to help you. So before we start, it's a really good idea to ask yourself, why are you here listening? Why is this really important to you right now in your present moment? And also, my promise to you is I'm going to be teaching you and about how inflammation and how this is a key to our health and wellness. And the last question for you is, what if you took some of these ideas on board and started implementing them? Like what could happen? And I would guarantee this would be my promise to you that your life will begin to change. So it doesn't matter whether you're here for the reasons of losing weight or maybe getting healthier, or maybe you're looking at preventative. So everyone is welcome. There will be something in this masterclass that you will be able to take away. And so, who am I? Well, I'm an Australian naturopath. I'm a nutritionist, herbalist, and by resonance practitioner. And right now, I'm recording in my clinic here in Brisbane. So, I've been 22 years in clinical practice. I hold a bachelor degree in health science. I have a postgraduate in counseling and psychotherapy. And my passion, why I do this, is to help as many people as I can, like you, in my life, to live a healthier and happy life. That's my passion. So, moving forward with our health, or in fact, any areas of our life, we need three things. So, the first thing is that we need to be aware, because if we're not aware, consciously aware of what is happening within our body, then it's going to be very difficult to change. So, for you being on this masterclass right now, that gives me the impression that you are consciously aware of your health and what is really happening. And that is an amazing thing to have. The second part to moving forward is really getting enough knowledge for you to be able to do that. And the third part is taking action. Once you have the awareness, the conscious awareness, you know what's going on and where you want to be, and then having the knowledge, hence the masterclass here. And we need to be taking action because if we don't take action and we're not disciplined to do that, we'll probably stay exactly in the same place. And I know that that's not really what you're wanting. So the struggle is real. So when you're sick and not feeling well, it's a massive struggle because in your mind, you are repeatedly going over the same story, and it is quite frustrating, especially if you've tried different things in your life to be healthy and they just haven't worked out. That could be different diets that you've tried. Maybe you've tried doing exercise, it hasn't worked. But the self-talk and how we speak to ourselves can be really a crucial part in our healing. So I believe that when you're ill and you're not well, that's a harder struggle than if you are really well and there is nothing wrong, perceived wrong. So, yes, the struggle is real, and I'm hoping My intention is that maybe there could be something that I'm going to say, that's my intention, that you might be able to implement and yeah, just start a different journey. Even if you've tried different things, maybe just give a few of these ideas that I'm going to be sharing right now that you can just start using in your life. So backing up right at the beginning, I understand that many people understand sort of what inflammation is, but I like to really break it down. So, what is inflammation? Inflammation, so you can imagine your body is like a castle, and your immune system is the army that protects it. So, when a germ injury or something harmful tries to invade, your army rushes to the area to defend and repair it. And that's inflammation, your body's natural defense system kicking into action to keep you safe. So that's what inflammation is. So, how does it work within your body then? Well, inflammation has become one of the most misunderstood health concepts of our time. So we start with inflammation, which is an acidic environment. There's some sort of damage happening. And of course, where there is pain and there's inflammation, then you're looking at a disease state coming. So if someone is inflamed, then it's most likely that the body is trying to protect itself. And that's when we have all these signs and symptoms that come within our body. It's all inflammation. Every symptom that you get in regards to your health, it's inflammation. And acute inflammation serves as your body's natural defense mechanism against injury and infection. So that's when you get like a sore on your skin, for instance. You'll notice that after a while a scab forms, and then your natural defense will help with the bacteria, and it helps with infection. Then we have chronic inflammation. So that could be outside of your body on your skin, or it could be inside your body. So chronic inflammation operates like a silent saboteur, because sometimes we'd even know we have chronic inflammation. But what happens, it's wreaking havoc on your metabolism and your energy levels and your weight management. So these are the signs and the symptoms that we will get over a period of time to let us know there is something going on internally. And if you've been struggling with stubborn weight that won't budge despite all your efforts, hidden inflammation might be the missing piece of your health puzzle. So understanding the inflammation in regards to the weight connection, we have chronic inflammation. It doesn't announce itself with dramatic symptoms. Again, it happens over a period of time, and we might not even know it's there. So instead, what it does, it whispers through subtle signs that many people dismiss as normal parts of aging and stress. And this is why when people come to see me as a naturopathic practitioner, I get people to fill out a health appraisal form. And this is where I check every symptom, every organ in the body, and I see what is really going on. And for many people, they get so used to all of these signs that they think it's really normal. It's just part of aging and stress, which we know now that it's not the case. It is your body telling you that something is wrong. And then this low-grade persistent inflammatory response, it can trigger over a period of time a cascade of metabolic dysfunction. And that makes weight loss nearly impossible and weight gain inevitable. That's going to happen. And it's tricky because it happens over a period of time. And many people say, oh, it's just because I'm aging, I'm getting old now. Not really. We need to really look at the inflammation within the body. And the reason why I put these two images here is to show you that the inflammation might not be present on the outside. So you can have like, this is what's called like a dad bod, right? So over a period of time, through stress and family and everything else, men tend to put on weight around their belly, like belly fat. And within that belly fat, we can just see the wobbly part, which is the subcutaneous fat. But inside the body, we have visceral fat, which tends to attach to all the organs and then pushes it out. this is quite detrimental. And if one person keeps continuing down that track and they don't change their lifestyle, then what happens is perhaps they will have cardiovascular issues, cancer issues, and diabetes. And in Australia, we have 300 people a day being diagnosed with diabetes too. And so this is epidemic. So if you're taking this personally, please don't, because the majority of the population have insulin resistance, these sugar cravings, and this is all inflammation in the body. Now, I've also got an amazing picture of a bodybuilder. Now, that person may look really healthy to you, but we don't know the inflammation which is happening internally. So you may even look healthy, but internally not. And so there's many people in the past and people that I've known that look like this and suffer a heart attack. So sometimes looks can be very deceiving. But what we want to do is be really consciously aware of every single symptom that we have within the body and find a way to improve that. Hence, this is this masterclass here. So blood sugar plus inflammation is danger. So the blood sugar dysregulation and inflammation create a vicious cycle. So you have inflammatory foods which cause blood sugar spikes. Then we get insulin surges. Why? Because the insulin helps place the glucose somewhere in the body. So it's either going to be visceral fat if that particular human is not exercising and moving their body and using the glucose, it will be stored as visceral fat. And so what happens when you have this production of AGEs, and I've written down the meaning of that, which is harmful compounds that are formed when protein or fat combine with the sugar in the bloodstream. So that's like your Mars bar, your Twix bars, all those sorts of things which combine protein, fat, and sugar is not good. It causes a lot of inflammation and down the track, insulin resistance, visceral fat storage, especially around the abdominals, around the belly. So the factors that increase the AGE production is, of course, the diet. So particularly processed high fat, high sugar foods can increase that exposure. Cooking methods like browning or charring, that also is going to accelerate. So, you know, the Australian barbecue might not be that great if you've got charring. That's going to cause a lot of AGE. And of course, your lifestyle, like unhealthy habits such as, you know, physical inactivity, not moving, smoking the commercial cigarettes. I'm not talking about nicotine, organic tobacco, which is a completely different story. I'm talking about the commercial cigarettes that people smoke. The chemicals added to the tobacco will cause a lot of oxidative damage within the body. And also, you know, high stress levels will also contribute to that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we can decrease these stress levels. Let's face it, majority of people are really, really stressed out. Maybe about their health, finances, relationships. There's a lot of stress levels we live under. Also, metabolic conditions, things like hypoglycemia, which is your high blood sugar, common in diabetes, we've talked about, that all leads to AGE production, as well as other factors like exposure to radiation that also contributes to this, which are mammograms, which are flying in an airplane. It's like you're sitting in a microwave oven. There's having mobile phones really close to your body, up to your ear. All of that is going to give you that AGE production, and free radicals will be spinning out of control in your body. And of course, chronic stress and hormonal disruption is a big issue. So chronic inflammation equals chronic stress, constant adrenaline and cortisol are like pumping through the body. And of course, it impairs the digestion. And you get muscle loss, you get fat gain, leptin resistance, you get hunger, cravings, and more fat storage. So there is a pattern here. So now we're going to be doing the quiz time. So if you're listening to this on a recording, then maybe you could pause it after the next slide because it's going to take you a few moments to work out how high your insulin, your inflammation, your symptoms, your fatigue is. So what I'd like you to do on a pen and paper is just just process this, have a look at it. So you can rate 0 to 5 for each of these factors. So in regards to energy and mood, so say you feel fatigue a lot, so then you would write 5 for that. If you do crashes at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then maybe that would be a 5 as well. But if it's like once or twice a week, maybe that's not the case. So that could be like a 2. So you go through every single one: irritability, sugar, caffeine, cravings. If you have them like once or twice a day, write that down as a 5. You've got digestion, which is bloating, gas, irregular bowel motions, reflux, all of that, write down a 5 if it's really big for you on a daily basis. And then you have physical issues like skin issues, joint pain, puffiness, inflammation, all of that, which you see. Sleep. Have you got a trouble sleeping, falling asleep, waking up tired, maybe waking up in the middle of the night? Do you scroll until 1 o'clock in the morning? Do you do research on your phone? So all of these are going to be causing inflammation. Why? Because sleeping is when you rest, when you renew your body, when you revitalize your body. And also that's the time of detoxification. So it's really, really important that you sleep well. And also weight. Have you found it really hard to lose weight? Are you fluctuating? Are you adding weight? Are you reducing it, then adding it again? How many diets have you been on that perhaps haven't worked for you? So write down 5 for those. Water retention at the end of the day. Do you feel like you're really puffy? Do you find that you look like you're 6 months pregnant in the mirror? All of these things just add on 5. So again, just go through that, just add it all up, pause it if you feel like you need more time. But again, it's really important to have a look at what's really happening within your body. And of course, this is the assessment of the quiz. So any numbers between 0 and 20, you have a low inflammation risk. However, if you're up near the 40s and maybe the 60s, that's high inflammation. That is your body telling you that it's not happy. Your body will keep telling you and giving you signs and symptoms until you heed the advice and do something about it. So what to do now, right? What are you going to do? So say you have inflammation, maybe you're in 30 or 40 in the quiz. Well, what do you do? Well, first of all, we need to recognize the hidden signs of inflammation. And a lot of people get the signs, but they don't really attach it to the inflammation. But it is inflammation and we need to deal with it. So that's your digestive issues, your energy crashes, your brain fog, your mood swings, skin problems, poor sleep, all of that. A gradual over a period of time. So the science of inflammatory weight gain is this. We have the inflammation. Then we get insulin resistance. We have gut dysbiosis. We have leaky gut. We have hormone imbalances, fat storage, slowed metabolism, and stubborn weight gain. So it is like a domino effect, and it is a slippery slope. So it's a great idea to understand each process and work out what you have, and then look at different ways of stopping it. So, of course, it depends on the food, what you're eating. And there could be things that I say here that you might think, oh my gosh, I can never give that up. I have always had bread with my eggs or whatever, right? Or you've had that takeaway once or twice a week, or you like cooking rice. You think brown bread is really healthy. Maybe you have deli meats, which you really love, the salamis. Maybe you have a lot of processed seed oils. So all I'm doing here is bringing the awareness of things that we consume and do in our lives that gives us that inflammatory process happening within the body. And so, of course, there's a different hierarchy with certain things. Of course, packaged foods with additives are really not a great thing. If you go into the supermarket, just as a challenge, you can go into the supermarket and pick up any packaged anything and have a look at the ingredients. If you have high sodium, and low potassium, that is an issue. If you have something with vegetable oil or canola oil or sunflower oil or seed oils, any oil, canola, whatever, all of these are like lubricants to your body. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. And it's only in the last 100 years that they've started to add it to our diet. The vegetable oil is probably the number one damaging thing that we have. And they're hidden in our foods. So it's just good to just have a look and just see what's in it. And of course, we think that rice is a great food. However, it has a lot of arsenic in it. So you need to be, if you're going to be eating rice where there's no nutritional value in it, it's a filler food, it's a carbohydrate that turns into carb immediately. Same with your pastas and your breads, all your wheat products. They directly turn into glucose pretty quickly. So the rice, if you're going to be eating that, well, you need to soak the rice for at least 8 hours in water. And you'll see that the rice water will be really cloudy. And then, of course, you cook the rice. And if you store the rice overnight after it's been cooked, the following day when you're having rice, it's going to be less carbohydrate, less starchy for you. However, most people don't do that. They might just like rinse the rice, cook it, and then eat it. And whenever you have a high carbohydrate diet, then you are going to be hungry really quickly because there's not enough protein and there's not enough fat within those foods to keep you full for a period of time. And this is how the calories start adding up because you become more and more hungry. The more glucose, carbohydrate you have, the more hungrier you become. And of course, you have all these additives, which are very, very addictive. And so therefore, we think they're okay and we eat more. So the seed oils are probably the worst in the alcohol. So the seed oils are like soy, corn, canola, sunflower. They're highly inflammatory and they've got high omega-6. What you want to do is have more omega-3, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. And of course, alcohol is the number one poison that we have. And many, many times when I am with women that are my clients with hormone issues around perimenopause, around that time, they have a lot of alcohol, and a lot could even be 2 or 3 glasses a week. And so this will really cause a blood sugar problem and also hormone problem. So alcohol is really not a great thing to have. It causes gut permeability. There's toxic metabolites in it and the massive blood sugar dysregulation, and it numbs out the brain. So it is a poison. So you're probably saying, okay, well, what do I do? What foods do I eat then? Well, we're looking at omega-3s. And so that's rich in salmon, sardines. Sardines are amazing. If you can have like one slither of a sardine every day, that would be really healthy. Herring, mackerel, anchovies, striped bass, all of these things. Then, of course, we have other foods, which is your berries, organic berries only, I must say. Soursop, which is from the plant of the graviola. You've got sea moss, you've got noni, you've got pomegranate, and I probably would say coconut water as well. And then you've got herbal spices, which is turmeric and ginger. All of these are amazing. You've got healthy fats, which is your avocados and your butter and your tallow and your ghee. So what we already know is that all processed foods cause inflammation. They can alter the bacteria that live in your gut, and that alteration has the ability to interact with your immune system and eventually trigger in a way that leads to chronic inflammation. So these inflammatory foods, should I say, cause a lot of issue in our stomach and our immune system. Uh, all of our cells for our immune system are made in the lining of our gut, like 70%. And also our good feeling hormones, 90% are found in the lining of the gut. So I'm also going to be talking a little bit shortly about the gut-brain axis, how the gut is really much the second brain. So we really do need to clean up our diet if we are wanting to be healthy and also to lose weight, if that's what you're wanting to do, and regulate hormones and feel good every day. Really that's the ultimate goal. So wait, there's more. There's more things you can do with inflammation. And this is just being really aware of what's in our modern day diet. So the low toxic foods are things like raw local honey, raw dairy, all sweet fruit, but you avoid the seeds. You're looking at banana, berries, mango, pineapple, watermelon, papaya, oranges. Then you're looking at non-sweet fruit, which is avocado, olives, pumpkin, squash, zucchini, cucumber, having tallow and suet as fat, and also grass-fed butter and ghee. Then we're looking at the medium toxic, and I'm talking about all of the chemicals, all the sprays, the pesticides that we have, and also the parasites which tend to latch on to all of our lettuces and salad greens that we think are really, really healthy, but they're not. And so there's medium toxic and also highly toxic. And it's interesting because we're very much taught, especially in my life, I was taught that to have at least, 3 to 5 cups of vegetables a day, to have protein, that sort of thing. That was really my upbringing. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I started to look more into the animal-based diet. And there was a massive Stanford University study with over 2,000 people. And within that study, within 3 months after being on an animal-based diet, autoimmune seemed to disappear, issues, which is all inflammatory. They also had the diabetes, which decreased. So there were many good things about that. And so this was a very high success rate of having like an animal-based diet with, 50% fat, 30% of the protein, and 20%, which is carbohydrate. So I would recommend that if you are going to be having like vegetables and fruit, is to have a look at the toxic level. It's very, very important. And so there's more to this also, is there's other natural remedies to decrease the inflammation. And I'm a huge believer in frequency treatment. I've been using the bioresonance now for over 18 years in my clinical practice. So I know frequency is very much something that I guess more people need to be doing and be more aware of it, because it can decrease a lot of inflammation. So red light therapy is really amazing. Also, the foot frequency machine, which I call the BioTerra, other people call it Ollie Life. They're very similar, if not the same. It's the frequency coming through the feet. And so much so, I've created a shop online called thehealingfield.shop, where you can purchase it. But if you are in Brisbane, you can come and collect these, which is a less fee for you in regards to shipping, because the foot machine there, which will help you with your lymphatic and regenerate your cells. This is very, very well documented. There's also a stomach belt as well, and that also helps with visceral fat and thermogenesis with weight loss, fat loss. So this is really, really incredible. I use it every single day myself, hence that's why I import them myself. And it's been very, very effective in clinical practice. So nearly every single person that I have in clinical practice now, I pop their feet on there for at least 15 minutes before I do bioresonance, talk about diet, nutrition, pathology, etc. as a naturopath. So yeah, go check out the Healing Field shop and see what you think. And of course, rebounding is really, really important. That one looks exactly like the one that I have in my living room. All you need to do to activate your lymphatic system to decrease the inflammation is really be on it for a couple of minutes, a couple of times a day. They're quite inexpensive. I think I got mine at Kogan for like less than $100. I've had it for a couple of years. While I'm waiting for something to happen, I might just hop on for a couple of minutes. And it's one of the only ways to stimulate your lymphatic system. And another thing is dry brushing. Or there's also, I don't know whether you can see, but up there I have the Chelsea Gene, which is the mitts, which actually help with lymphatic. And I do that twice a day before bed and before my shower. I make sure my lymphatic system is activating. a lot of issues for people. The lymphatic system is not working because it doesn't have a pump. So unless you're stimulating the feet and you're moving the body, the flow of lymphatic drainage, it's going to be very hard for your body to stay well and decrease the inflammation. So there's other things like Epsom salt baths, there's saunas, like make sure it's about 80, 85 degrees and you can go in there for 10 to 20 minutes. There are many places you can go for that. That is great. There's different herbal protocols that you can do that I explain to people when I chat to them in clinical practice. You know, turmeric, ginger, boswellia. I use Emulin 5, which is great. It's got 5 flavonoids in it. It's got lactobacillus, good for the gut. It's very good for bringing down inflammation. And of course, fermented foods like sauerkraut, to have even like a teaspoon of that every day, right? Keep it in the fridge. And when you walk past the fridge, take 1 teaspoon. So there's many, many ways of doing this. But I also offer like a free consultation as well, like a 20-minute chat, 30-minute chat. You can go to my website, jaynebryson.com, and organize time for yourself. And, you know, we can work out together what you actually need for your health, depending on what's really happening. So again, what else can we do? Well, also on my website, I have free resources, the carnivore diet and also the ketogenic diet. These are the 2 that I follow. What do they have in common? No wheat, no wheat. So go check that out. It's free. You can download both of them. So what I would recommend is eliminate all processed foods, to avoid all your seed oils, balance your sugar. We need to be doing that. How do you do that? Protein, fat, supplements. Eat real food, no packages. So in the supermarket, just go around the outside, right? Don't go inside the supermarket shelves because that's where you get all the junk. Yeah, decrease all the carbohydrate. And one of the hardest things is to decrease the wheat. That is so difficult. And I know it was for me because whenever I was a bit hungry, I would have Vegemite toast. Being Australian, I was raised on that. So that's what I would do. Do I do that now? No, I don't. And of course, when I was raising my family, pasta was at least once or twice a week because it was a filler food. But now I know there's not a lot of nutrients in that. What would I do now? Probably look at more protein, as in meat, more likely, right? So there's also no reason to eat 3 meals a day. I know we have been taught to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's really not the case, right? So if you need any help on that, you know, go to my website and book a call and we'll talk about that together. And also no eating when not hungry. If you're not hungry, don't eat. It's pretty simple. So examples of things that you can do is to have a protein smoothie. You can do that. I'm not a big advocate on protein powders because of the ingredients. I would prefer people to have like an omelette, scrambled egg, boiled egg, poached egg, sausage, meat, something like that for breakfast. If you need to have breakfast, then lunch, maybe if you're into salad, you know, you can have fish, you can have steak, cook it with butter or ghee, tallow. And again, for dinner, you're looking at protein, maybe avocado using butter. There's all these different things, but that's just mealtime examples. But when you go to my website in the keto diet and the carnivore, I give you examples of what you can actually eat. But again, if you need help, just book a call with me. So lifestyle support for inflammation. Now, I put that little image there because I've just been recently talking to a lot of people and they tell me they go to bed and they lie there and they get lost in the scroll and they're there for like 1 or 2 hours. That is going to interrupt your sleep big time. Not only because of the light with the eye, because of the damaging light, but you're really robbing yourself of good deep sleep by doing that. So it's a great idea to take all electronics away from your bedroom and have a clear space. Your bedroom should be pretty much empty, like not a lot of stuff in it. It is there for you to sleep and sleep well, and it needs to be dark and it needs to be coolish, not hot. So we also need to look at managing stress, but on the next slide, I have something for you. But, you know, things like meditation, yoga, something, even gardening, something that is going to take you away from all of those constant thoughts about you're not feeling well, or maybe the perceived bad things that are happening in your life. We need to be able to be better at managing stress in our life. It's really paramount, because that also, as you know, creates a lot of inflammation within the body. And of course, moderate exercise. Only do exercise that you like. If you don't like going to the gym, don't go to the gym. Look at something else. Maybe you like bike riding. Maybe you like walking. Maybe you like Pilates. Maybe you like yoga, whatever it is. But I would recommend that you do some sort of weight-bearing exercises, because you need to build lean body mass over time, especially when you're aging. And also have a look at hydration, water. And it needs to be filtered, and it needs to be hydrogen water, because that's going to be the best for you. So emotional stress, as I promised, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We need to be going not so much in the parasympathetic, which is your fight and flight response. And living in our society now, we are very much stressed out every single day. And our forefathers weren't really stressed out, if you go back in time, not as much as now, because of the social media, the pressures, the external environment, that we take that on board, but it affects every single part of our body. Every time when we think negatively over a period of time, maybe we're bringing up the same stories in our minds that are negative. We can't break away. We can't sleep. We're not eating well. We're craving for sugar and coffee and alcohol and medication. All of that is going to have a massive impact on your life. And there is a massive connection now. We already know it with the gut-brain axis. So the gut is very much like a brain, and it really controls a lot of things that are happening within the body. And if you have a look at the diet and the lifestyle, if you're not digesting, assimilating, and absorbing certain nutrients that you're eating, you could be on an amazing diet, but totally stressed out. Your body is going to stop the digestive enzymes coming in from the pancreas. Your hydrochloric acid is not going to be made, and your liver is going to be under a lot of stress over a period of time. And so these two little diagrams here are just here to show you that everything in your body is connected. We have to make sure that we take care of everything on the holistic approach. So that means we need to have a look at what's happening, what we're consuming on every level, what we're consuming, people that we're hanging out with, environments that we're not really okay with, as well as what we're eating, where we're eating it, with who we're eating it, the types of food we're eating, and all of our signs and symptoms. And we need to look after our spirit, our soul, our mind, everything. It's the holistic approach. And that's why I love being a naturopathic practitioner, is that I have the ability to be able to look at absolutely everything. So if you feel like you are really stressed out, I've got you covered. Because if you go to my website, there is under the free resources, the third one down, you have ketogenic carnivore free guides. Under that, you have a free 21-day health and wellbeing reset. So this is after years of being in the health industry and clinical practice, that I know that we need to get our stress down on a mental level. And so if you go to the free resources, you can just get instant access. You get into the portal, and then the portal, you can have everyday little messages from me, which is a couple of minutes. There's also a couple of meditations that you can listen to, and maybe that's going to decrease your stress level, bring down your cortisol and your adrenaline. And so what we also need to do is, as I said, we've got the physical and we've got the internal. We need to look after both, right? So the physical part is, look at the elimination diet. If your food you believe is causing an issue, like with your wheat and your dairy, your sugar, your alcohol, well, just remove that from your diet. Just remove it and just introduce a couple at a time to see whether you get a reaction. I know that's what happens with myself, because I'm very much on the ketogenic and the carnivore diet. If I bring in wheat, I can feel it. And even white potatoes, which are man-made and highly toxic because of our grounds, and the chemicals they put in our ground and how nutritionally deficient our soil is, when I eat that, it feels like lead in my stomach. It doesn't feel good. So once you're on a really healthy diet, you are going to be very aware of certain foods that you eat. Even as small as a piece of cake, you're going to know that that's going to react in your body because it's toxic. It is a poison. So your body is going to tell you what is toxic and what's not. And what I have found over a period of time is that many people have forgotten how good you can feel because they're so used to feeling unwell that they have forgotten how to feel well. And it's such a big jump they feel from where they are now to where they would like to be. But once you start feeling healthier and healthier, and your energy starts to increase and you feel good, then it's going to be very hard for you to go back to the old habits. So you do need to track your symptoms. You need to consider the food sensitivity testing. Have a look and see what gives you that trigger. And also on a mind level, the internal is, ask yourself before you eat, am I hungry? Am I bored right now? Is that why I'm going past the cupboard and grabbing a couple of biscuits? Am I thirsty? Maybe you're thirsty more than hungry. Are you tired? Are you nervous? There's all these emotional triggers that we need to cover. So ask yourself, how am I feeling? And remember, on pretty much the second slide of this masterclass, I talked about being aware of how you're feeling. And of course, ask yourself, is this a habit of mine? Is this just a habit that every single morning I get up and have a coffee? Like, is that what I do? What are the healthier things that I can do for myself? Coffee is okay. I think coffee is great, but not early in the morning. And the reason being is because black coffee can hurt your gut, and you're already in a high cortisol level, and you're also very acidic. So when you wake up and you have that black coffee, one or two or three, that can really make your whole situation worse. If anything, you need something alkaline, something like water, lemon, before you have that coffee, and just wait until your cortisol levels decrease a little bit, or it's, like a whip on your liver, and you'll feel it. So also other things are social settings. When you go out, how do you feel when you go out and everyone is eating wheat and dairy and sugar? How do you feel about that? Do you feel pressured about that? Can you stick to your diet? Do you have enough discipline and strength? And are you feeling good about yourself to say, no, I'm not really wanting that alcoholic drink. I'm okay with one wine. I don't really need the second one. Are you going to eat before you go out to that, if you know that that's the type of food? Like, it's building up that strength and the self-esteem and working out, okay, this is what I'm wanting for my life. I want to be really healthy. And it might be that you might feel that social pressure. This is a real thing. So if you decide to do some changes, right? If you decide to do it, I would recommend that you take photos and measurements of yourself. Put your symptoms down in a journal. I love journaling every single day. Write down what is really going on. When you're getting the blood markers, make sure your doctor in the bloods do the CRP and the ESR, because I want to know, as a practitioner, I want to know where your inflammation is at. And the CRP is a really good one for doing that. And so the other thing is monitoring your energy, your digestion, the skin, the mood, how you're feeling. So this is why journaling is a good idea. Why? Because you forget things. You forget things. You forget how bad you were when you're becoming a little bit better. So I'm going to wrap this up with some questions at the end. I won't be recording the questions. That's private and personal for people that are on the call. If you are watching this replay, please reach out via email or text me, social media. You can find me. You just put my name and you'll find me, and you can text me, and or go straight to my website and perhaps book a free 30-minute discovery call, So you can do that. You just go to my website and book it, right? And what I can do is I can talk to you and see whether we can work together, like wherever you're at. Maybe you're looking at prevention. Maybe you don't want to lose weight. Maybe you do. Maybe you've got an event in the future that you want to look like, or whatever it might be. We can talk about that, and then I can give you like a personal plan for doing that. And I believe healing on all levels is really, really important. The physical, the mental, the spiritual. This is holistic healing. This is the new age moving into. This is what we're moving into. And so I would recommend that you don't put it off. Don't keep putting it off. Even if you've been to lots of other practitioners, then just contact me and we can have a quick chat about what you've done and what you're wanting to do, because your healthiest self is ready to emerge. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here on this masterclass. Each one of you will receive a guide via email and the recording. You are so welcome to go and check out my website at janebryson.com. There could be something on there that you might like. I've got tons and tons of blogging on there too for information. I have the free keto, the carnivore, the 21-day mindset things that you can download. And of course, if you're looking at frequency therapy to do at home with my foot machine, the Bioterra, which is the P90, which is absolutely awesome, you can go and purchase that. And also the red light, which is like, you can probably see it, it's just there. Like I usually put it on people when they come into my clinic on their face for like 30 minutes while I'm doing bioresonance and everything else. So I love all these things, and you can start doing that at home if you like. So thank you so much for being part of this masterclass. Please reach out if you would like to make a move on your health, and I will either chat with you, see you, social media, or be in contact at some particular time. So thank you so much. Lots of blessings and love to you. And thank you so much for being here.